Hello everyone, Yusuf Haji at the Haji Daily. I know, I should have been on here earlier, but I had to watch the NBA, and we had, I think my wife is vacuuming upstairs. I know tomorrow is Eid. By the way, I want to wish all of you Eid Mubarak, Eid, have a blessed Eid, and it's got a little bit of a sound. My wife upstairs doing some vacuuming, so you forgive me for that. But I hope you can hear me loud and clear. Yeah, it's very loud, so my apologies for that. She doesn't know I'm in live, by the way. She didn't know I'm going live. There was an NBA game just ended between the Pacers and the OKC, and Indiana came back from 15 points. Another surprise, another win. So I'm happy. As long as OKC is losing, I'm happy. So I hope the Indiana Pacers win the NBA championship, and that's where I stand for that now. So those who are following, a great game, by the way, great game. Great finish by Indiana Pacers. Great win. This noise thing is kind of getting to be. Anyway, I can't shout from here, so I guess they won't even hear the upstairs. But anyway, guys, it was a great game, and it ended the way I would have loved to end. I love surprises. At the end of the day, Indiana won, so I'm happy. I'm cool with that. We have some few things I want to talk to you guys about. Remember, we had a discussion about, not yesterday, the day before yesterday. We are on live, and we were talking about one of the things we spoke about was what transpired during the federal operation in Minneapolis. So there was ICE raid in Minneapolis. So the government or the law enforcement claim they went to a specific restaurant called Las Cuatro Milpas on East Lake Street and Bloomington. And what they're saying is there were drugs and some money laundering activities. And so when they showed up, uh, they were confronted by the people or the citizens who are from Lake Street and Bloomington or surrounding area. So there was a push and pull. A lot of things happened, and so there has been an ongoing conversation now after the fact all that happened. And I know I discussed this in details last the day before yesterday. I spoke about this raid, and I gave you where I was on that. But right now, the way it's also looking is it looks like there's a lot of explanation happening from both sides. One side from the law enforcement saying this is a targeted raid, and then there's also another information coming from the leaders from that Minneapolis, especially the city council and the mayor and the police chief, saying something else, and the citizens, I mean, who are there by themselves and saw what happened and witnessed what happened, present as well. This, hold on, guys, I gotta this. You guys can hear. You can hear the vacuuming cloud loud. My apologies, guys. I guess you can hear me. I'm like I was talking about the Minneapolis federal operation that happened recently, and the reaction both from the law enforcement and also reaction from the local city council and the mayor and the leadership from that operation. And what everybody actually is making statements. I've seen political candidates making statements. I've seen the mayor make a statement. Actually, he was at one of the places that was raided by the federal agents. I see the other side also making statements. So there's a lot of things going on, and uh, there's a lot of information, to be honest. But the fact remained that there was a federal raid, and there was law enforcement, and there was a little bit of shoving and pushing and conflict, and I think there was some arrests done as well, and so that is one I wanted. So there's been a reaction from the community. There's been a reaction from the leaders. There's been a reaction to that raid, and it's kind of um, it's kind of brought up a little bit of some sense of like a solidarity or a unity among people in Minneapolis, and also also within the Minneapolis PD, the mayor and the sheriff giving all their statements in regards to and saying that they were really not involved in this issue, and then also the other side, people seeing what was happening. And so I'm seeing some videos that recently just came up yesterday and today. I've been seeing, overly aggressive, on what exactly happened. On me personally, I wanted to really make it very clear that I support law enforcement. I think we need to be safe as a community, and that responsibility is on all of us. It's not just on the law enforcement alone, but as public too. We, all of us, we are responsible in everything we say and how we go about dealing with it. Because I've dealt with law enforcement before. I know it could be some issues, but at the end of the day, I truly believe that we do need, law enforcement. We do need police. We do need this. But I think sometimes how we're doing things, I think I believe is an overreach in the parts of the police, and also the general FBI response, or showing up heavily, overly militarized. Also, the presence of ICE in that community, because I've lived in that. Actually, I started my life in that community in South Minneapolis. I live in Burnsville now, but I've started my life in South Minneapolis. The beginning of my story in America began in South Minneapolis, right on Minnehaha and 35. That's where my story began. As an immigrant, got off of a bus, walked over, didn't know anyone, got welcomed by people that look like me, that I asked, strangers that I asked. I just came, and that's almost 30 years ago that I started my life in South Minneapolis. So I know that community very well, very well. And so there's issues, there's issues, and for me, speaking from that personally on that side of that community, I think we can all of us can do better. First, on how we respond to issues like drugs and crime. I think that we can handle it better. And this is just my view. I mean, you might disagree with me. You might not like what I say. That's okay. We can disagree, but in a civil way. In a civil way. I had done a topic before on people who give comments on TikTok that might be overly overreacting, sometimes. But what we need to do as a community is basically really work together with the law enforcement, and trying to deal with the issues of crime. And when it comes to the issue of ICE, I think there is so much, I believe, overly, show of strength when it's dealing with this. And I think when you have people coming with a show of strength, it scares the community more. And also, that community is really interdependent. So there's a huge community of Somali Americans. There's a community of Latinos from different countries, Guatemala, Mexico, and other communities that own businesses on that corridor on Lake Streets. And so they are just going about their daily life. Some have small shops, some bigger. We got a lot of the immigrants who work there. They have jobs, they have family. They do that. So they're very much dependent on that corridor for their everyday lives. And so showing, coming over militarized in a community like that, it kind of scares people even to come out and support the local businesses, because I'm a big supporter of local business. I am whatever place we have a small business. I am a huge supporter of small business, and I would love small business to do well, especially in communities that are mostly at disadvantaged, and many of these opportunities of being successful. So when we show up as a law enforcement, when we show up overly militarized and we got big trucks, machine guns, and really wearing masks, it scares the community. It's not only scares the immigrant community, it scares everybody else, even children. We have children, children walking on those streets. So it's a trauma itself that we create in that community. And we also create mistrust between that community and law enforcement. Especially that community has been having the issue of crime and drugs and shootings. And so you want that community to come forward and say, we need to work to make sure we get rid of the crimes that are happening in that area of South Minneapolis. And the best way to do that is if we have a law enforcement and that is open to getting into this community and building a relationship with this community, not going in with masks, not going in with armor trucks, not going in with overly aggressive method of policing the community. That does not really build trust. It scares and it traumatizes the community, and I think we can do better as a community. I truly believe we can do better as a community. So it gets to a point where we're like, okay, where do we go from here? Because now there's so much mistrust, right? And maybe the law enforcement that showed up really were going after drug dealers, really were going after money laundering, But I think, how it was done, what was done, the way it was done, the method that were used, I think might be an overreach, in my opinion. But yeah, you're welcome to come into the community. You're welcome to do your investigation. You're welcome to work with the community to deal with some of these issues we have in our community. And this is just my personal opinion. You might have a different opinion, and it's okay. We might disagree on it. But at the end of the day, we need law enforcement. At the end of the day, we need police in our community. At the end of the day, we do need the communities that are overly or heavily policed also to really that should not be happening. So that can build community trust. We can build a better community collectively together. And even more better, it will be we're hiring locals, as police officers from the community, especially the young people that, and that's where I will leave with this, But there has been, a lot conversation that is happening and what the response has been. There was a protest, there was a demonstration, there was express fear of immigration enforcement. And then, also the criticism of heavy police presence, Minneapolis PD presence in that protest. And the Minneapolis Police Department have given their statement. I think the Sheriff DeWine, that's the Sheriff, Hennepin County Sheriff, has spoken on and given a statement on exactly what happened and what went wrong. And I think that is something that as a community we collectively have a responsibility for, and we need not to be overly policing, overly militarizing some of this security operation. It can be done better to get whoever we want to get out of our community that is bringing harm to community. There's been cases of overdose in most of this Latino and our native community and our Somali American community. There's been overly criminal activity in those communities. And so, and that is why it's important that if the law enforcement are going to do their job, they do it knowing that they can trust the community to tell them where the problem is, and also knowing that the community knowing themselves, knowing they can trust the officers, not the way they came. That was wrong. It was a wrong approach. It shouldn't be like that. We can do better as a community. I truly believe that. So, that and many, there is an impact in the community, impact on the immigrant communities, and there is also policy analysis discussing the effectiveness. There is this issue of sanctuary policies, and Minneapolis is a sanctuary city. And so what does that mean? What does that mean for Minneapolis moving forward? And there's a lot of media and misinformation coming from many sides. And that can be, it's unfortunate. And then what is the legal consideration? What is the boundaries between local and federal law enforcement agencies and the implication for the civil liberties, especially for the people who are there protesting that felt they have been mistreated by law enforcement. But for me, I stand with law enforcement. For me, I stand in making sure our communities are safe. I stand in making sure that we get rid of drugs, we get rid of drug dealers, we get rid of harmful weapons in our community, and that is important. And how do we deal with moving forward with law enforcement is something that has been a part of that discussion for a long time. I'm not new. I'm not the first one to raise this. Many have, and I'm just taking my position and saying and making it clear that we are together in this and making sure that our kids are not dying over the overdose. Our community corridor, our business corridors is doing very well and thriving because there is safety. People can sleep in their homes without getting shot at, and we're not losing children, in our streets. And I think that is where I come from, and that's where I stand on those issues. And I think they're very important issues to raise. Thank you, Abdulkader. I appreciate that. Good evening, bro. Have you given up on your political ambitions? I have not given up on my political ambition. But stay tuned. Hopefully, we will come together. We'll come together on that. We will continue having that discussion. I have probably missed some comments, which my apologies. I am just picking up on the comments, but I would like to know where you guys stand on that. What do you guys think about the ICE raid in Minneapolis? And of course, there were presence of ICE. I think that's kind of created a lot of that tension, presence of ICE in that, and ICE can be there because they're part of law enforcement. Usually, when law enforcement are involved in a raid, they kind of work with other partners, but they didn't work with Minneapolis PD, which is kind of like weird for me. I wish, I wish it would have been, they will have informed the PD. Maybe they have their own reasons why they didn't. Unfortunate, but usually law enforcement, when they go to a community, when they want to do something in specific in a community, they work with other partners in making sure that, but this is the federal government. It's being led by different people now. It's not the same people. They have their own way of wanting to do this. And partly, I think it's just a way of getting, rile people up, show one side that they're serious about what's happening. And then the other side, trying to rile them up and get a reaction, and, which is unfortunate. It's politics, playing with people's life, with politics, playing with people's life, using politics, to put across a point and saying, I am keeping the law, straight, and then others reacting to that, which is unfortunate. It shouldn't be. I have some messages here, but I would like to know, I see both sides of the issue. In one hand, you have to protect the country and secure the nation. Sam V. Jones, thanks for that. Good point. Samjo. On the other hand, it's about empathy and giving people the benefit of the doubt. Yes, 100%. Sam Jones, I believe in that too as well. That's a very good point. But there's a lot. There's a lot to just the news media. There's a lot to just the headlines. There's a lot to just the screaming and the protest and the showing up of the community in support of the immigrant community. There is a lot, and really you have to be in the know, understand what the game is, to really know what's going on. Otherwise, some of you get just the sound bites. You get to see the headlines, and you get confused by information from many different parties, and at the end of the day, that's the way usually what happens in the new age of information. And so there's a lot going on. We have a lot to talk about, and I thought this is one of the things, but I want to hear from you. By the way, June 28th, we have the Sambusa eating contest here in Burnsville. We did it last year. It was a great success. We're doing it again this year. So if you want to come through and support, bring the kids, especially if you live in Burnsville, if you live in Egan, if you live in Apple Valley, if you live in Lakeville. So it's going to be a fun activity. The kids loved the contest last year. They loved it. I mean, the kids were we could not ask the kid to stand back. They were just all over. They were just happy and screaming, and just to see, the contest. And then we offered a lot of free sambusas to the kids, and they loved the free sambusas. It was fun. So we're going to do the same event again this year, June 28th from 1 to 9 p.m. I want to ask, if you own a business and you're here in Minneapolis or Twin City area or South Metro, whatever, and you want to promote your business, you want to be a vendor, reach out to me. I will definitely give you an opportunity to display your business. It's a great opportunity. We had 1,500. We've done this events for this will be our third year doing this event in Burnsville. And on average, we get about 1,000. Last year, we got 1,500 people showing up for the event. Amazing turnout. So hopefully this year, we're thinking we're going to go more people showing up. So if you want to connect with the community, especially the Somali community in this area or in Minnesota, and you want to show your business, you can definitely show up, and definitely we can have fun doing this together. But there's a lot more we can do together. It shouldn't be an issue. And let's get on. I wish I was in Minnesota. Life looping. Yes. Minnesota is an amazing place, man. I've been here for 30 years and I love it. I'm a huge Vikings fan. I'm a huge Timberwolves fan. I'm not much of a baseball fan guy. I mean, I never really followed baseball a lot, but whenever Minnesota wins, I'm happy. I win. But it's a great state, by the way. It's amazing in the summertime. And it's in the winter time, it's like we're crawling through tunnel, and that at the end of the light, there's light at the end of that tunnel, which is our summer. So that's how I look at it. For me, that's how I deal with the cold winters of Minnesota. Is I'm thinking I'm in a tunnel, crawling through that tunnel. It's dark, but there's light at the end of that tunnel, and that's summertime for me, and I love it. So, but Minnesota has been home. My kids are born here. I've built a family here. I've built a business here. I've built this great place, man. I'm telling you. So you will like it one day when you come. Hopefully. Things are tough now. You can't come, and you shouldn't come. Stay where you are. You don't want to deal with this drama that is going on. And I will not advise you to do that, but you can make it anywhere. I mean, a lot of people think they can only make it in America. But you can make it anywhere. You can make it anywhere, wherever you are. What I will tell you is learn how to cook, learn how to make food. Go to a culinary school, a cooking school. Go to a cooking school. Learn how to cook, especially if you're young and you're watching this show right now. Learn how to cook. I'm telling you, that's the future. Being a cook, that is the future. Learn how to cook. Learn how to be an electrician. That is the future. Learn how to be a plumber. That is the future. Learn how learn how to fix cars, and go to a trade school. Learn all these things. I'm telling you, things like as simple as making a bed can make you a lot of money in the future, and for the young people, and as simple as learning how to make different kind of foods, can get you money. Can make you a lot of money. Learning how to do electricity and do electrical work can make you a lot of money, because where the world is moving to AI, and most of these machines are going to they need somebody to fix them. And so learn how to do that. And that's your future. I mean, I'm just telling you, I wish somebody had given me this advice when I was younger. But I just want to leave that with you guys. There's a great opportunity for you guys, and there's great opportunity to own a business, and make money into your future. So those young people who are watching this show, 265 people tune in and listening to this show, there's an opportunity for all of you guys. Just to catch up with most of you, we're talking about the law enforcement raid in Minneapolis, reaction from both sides, and there's a lot of information, and there's more information coming out. But like I said, my stand has always been I support our law enforcement. I will always do support our law enforcement. We need them in our communities. We have issues of serious drug dealings. We have issues of overdoses. We have issues of crime, and those things need to be rooted out of our community. But I always would like if law enforcement will work with the local community in helping those local community deal with these issues, and that is one. And then the other one, I just talked about our festival that is coming up on June 28th, and I hope you can all join and be part of it. Other than that, guys, since you guys don't want to participate today, there's no much excitement. I'm going to have to end the show in a good way. Hopefully, again, we can continue having this conversation. By the way, if you're a Muslim and you're celebrating Eid, some of you are probably out right now in Africa. It's early morning, I'm thinking. Eid Mubarak. Have a blessed Eid, spend time with your families. For all of us who are in Minnesota, and tomorrow is when we're going to celebrate. For the graduate of Bunceville High School, I want to say congratulations to all of you. I know you're going to probably pray in the morning and go to your graduation. Stay safe and go blaze. Thank you so much, guys.